Hi guys, my name is Aidan Lucid, and today this is my testimony for the Holy Rosary and how it has helped me in my life. Okay, so I never do anything like this before. I don't normally come on YouTube and post videos like this. Um, I've been getting the nudge to do this for a while, but I haven't pursued it because of fear of ridicule. But I feel I've been getting a nudge from God or Jesus to do this for a while, and today is the day I decided to finally just tell my story of how the Holy Rosary has helped me. To give you a bit of background information on me, my name is Aidan Lucid, like I said. I'm from Ireland, and I first began saying the Rosary back in 2002. Um, I grew up in a household where we were always encouraged to pray, but it was never forced upon us. We went to Mass every Sunday, and you know, we were never really taught how to say the Rosary. So in 2002, my grandfather passed away, and that was a big, big event for me in my life because my grandfather and I were very close, as well as I was with all my grandparents. But when my grandfather passed away, he passed away in April 2002, and the following month, something was kind of nudging me to begin to say the Rosary. And like I said, I never really said it beforehand. I used to say prayers and I used to go to Mass, but I never actually said the Rosary. So I learned how to say the Rosary, and I downloaded a lot of information. I went out and I bought a pack of the Rosary beads, and so the very first day I said the Rosary was I was sitting at the edge of my bed in my room, and I held the first bead, which was above the crucifix, and I remember in a little piece of paper, that I printed out, it said you have to meditate on the bead. So I did. I closed my eyes and I meditated on the bead. And as soon as I closed my eyes and started meditating on the bead and started saying the Apostles' Creed, this immense feeling of peace came over me. It was like the whole room was just, it got warmer, and the feeling of peace that I experienced was amazing. And I knew then that it was the right thing to do, to start saying the Rosary. So a little while after I began saying the Rosary, I started writing, and it was like, the stem inside of me was just broken, and all these stories and everything started flowing out. And 2 years later, I got 7 items published. I got the courage to send out some of my stuff that I was writing, poems, short stories, articles, whatever. And 2 years later, in 2004, 7 of the items that I wrote were published. And I suppose that was a sign from God saying, that writing is my vocation. So for 2 years, I continued to say the Rosary, and in 2004, I went to Medjugorje with my auntie Kathleen and her friend Margaret. And I've often heard about Medjugorje, but I never actually went there. And when I got the chance to go in 2004, I jumped at the chance, and we went there. And I had a few amazing experiences there. Um, the first thing that hit me, when I went there, was just the immense feeling of peace. It was so peaceful. It was just unbelievably serene and tranquil, and it was just beautiful in every way. And when I went there, we checked into our rooms, and I sat in my room, and I said a prayer of thanks for helping us to get there, and for protecting us. And as soon as I said that, it was just like this immense feeling of peace again just filled the room. It was greater than the feeling of peace I had when I first started saying the Rosary. And you just know that there's something there, that Our Lady is appearing there, that it's not made up, that these people that are seeing her are actually seeing her, they are really seeing her. And it's just an amazing place, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity that my Auntie Kathleen gave me, and it was just fantastic. But I had a few experiences there, and I'm going to share them now because I do believe that they're tied into the Rosary. Okay, the first experience I had, apart from the experience in the room when I had the feeling of peace come over me, I went to there's two mountains there. Okay, one mountain at the foot of the mountain, right, at the mountain that I found easier to climb. There was a cross called the Blue Cross. Okay, and that was put there to make it easier for people who like have severe disabilities, who are in wheelchairs or whatever, um, that they can go there and they can pray there. Okay, um, so you have that mountain, and then you have the other mountain which is beside it. Now that the other mountain was very difficult to climb. I didn't do it. I didn't even attempt to do it, but I did climb the easier mountain. Okay, and the very I went up there twice. The first time, and like that was a big deal for me because I have my own disability, and I sometimes find it hard to do certain things with it. So Um, I saw this as a challenge, and something inside of me said I could do it. So I went up to the mountain, the easier mountain that was to climb, and I climbed it. And once I reached the top, okay, um, I was hit with the overwhelming smell of roses. All right. Now there were some flowers near the statue, but not enough to justify the amount of roses that and smell of roses that hit me when I, reached the top. And to me, that was like either God's way or Our Lady's way of saying well done, because it was a hard mountain to climb. It was steep, and when I reached the top, I was sweating buckets. Um, but I reached the top, and with the help of my aunt and a few other people, and it was just, the smell of roses was amazing, and it was just absolutely amazing. And another time, then I think it was a few days later, I we were at uh, a session where Our Lady was appearing to the visionaries, and uh, somebody pointed to where Our Lady would appear. So when Our Lady did appear to, I think it was Ivanka, I think that's her name, or one of the visionaries anyway, um, everybody was saying shh, okay, and nobody could talk, so there had to be complete silence. So I was there, and I was just fixated on um, uh, where Our Lady was supposed to be appearing, and it was like I went into a trance for about 20 seconds, and um, in my mind I could hear a woman's voice saying to me, and I guess I attribute this to Our Lady. She said, "Peace, peace, go in peace, go back to Ireland and spread the word." So I, I couldn't believe that. Like, I really heard her loud and clear. It was a loving, peaceful voice, and she said, "Peace, peace, go in peace, go back to Ireland and spread the word." So when I eventually came home to Ireland, um, I wrote a letter to a magazine called Ireland's Eye, and I explained my experience, and it got published. And I suppose really looking back, maybe I should have done more, but I didn't know what else I could do. So that's another reason why I'm making this video today. Um, so then we fast forward to the next year, which is 2005, and as I said, my grandfather passed away in 2002, and every weekend I used to stay with my grandmother, and I used to keep her company. So in 2005, I was due to go there one weekend, and I had to get off at my sister's house first. So I was working at the time, and I got the bus home. Now, something was telling me not to get off the bus, okay? But I didn't listen. I didn't listen to that gut feeling that was telling me not to get off the bus. I didn't listen to the warning that it was giving me. But, and this is how it's tied into the rosary now, okay? When I was getting off the bus, I actually have my rosary beads with me, because what I was going to do was I was going to get off at my sister's house and then go down to my grandmother's house afterwards. So I had the rosary beads in my top left hand pocket, okay, in my jacket. And I got off the bus and I waited till the bus moved off. I looked left and right, and just as I was approaching the halfway line, the white line in the middle of the road, something told me to look to my left, okay? And I jumped back. As I jumped back, because a car came over to my side of the road, as I jumped back, the right wing mirror caught my left arm, and I got hit by the car, and I suffered severe ankle injuries. But it could have been a lot worse, because if I hadn't actually stopped when I did, and if I hadn't looked to my left, like something was telling me to, the injuries could have been a lot worse. I could have been paralyzed from the waist down, or I could have been killed. So I really do believe that the rosary saved me that day. My rosaries that I had, and Our Lady and Archangel Michael, or my guardian angel, saved me that day. Um, Especially when I didn't listen to the warning I got beforehand. So because of that, because of the accident, I was actually in a wheelchair for 6 months, and but they did allow me to write a book that I later got published. I'm going to talk about that later. But during that recovery time, in January 2006, my grandmother that I used to stay with at the weekends got sick, and she ended up in hospital in St. James's Hospital in Dublin. So one day while I was home saying the rosary and praying for her that she would get better, or that she wouldn't be in as much pain as she was, I was in a room on my own, the same room that I was in when I first started saying the rosary back in 2002. Now, I want to make one thing clear: there were no flowers in the room. There was no flowers outside the window, or in the house. There were flowers in the garden, but the garden was far away from where I was. Okay, so I was there, and I had a statue of Our Lady on my dressing table. I had candles on either side of the statue of Our Lady, and I was saying the rosary. And next thing, the whole room, or it was like I was just surrounded by the smell of roses in the room. It was just amazing, the overwhelming smell of roses that just surrounded me in that room. Okay, and it was like the smell that I got when I reached the top of the mountain back in Medjugorje in 2004. So I remember thinking this. I remember saying this to my mother, and my mother said to me that I think you should talk to your Auntie Kathleen, the same Auntie Kathleen that took me to Medjugorje. So I phoned my Auntie Kathleen and I told her the time that it happened, and she said, "You're not going to believe this," um, she said, "I was in a chapel in St. James's Hospital in Dublin, and she said, I was standing next to St. Teresa, the statue of St. Teresa of the zoo, who's also called the Little Flower, at the same time that you got that smell of roses." And she said there was actually roses around the statue, she said, and she was crying as well. So I was a bit floored by that, I couldn't get over that, I just thought it was an amazing coincidence. So then, throughout the years, the Rosary has given me a lot of graces, has given me a lot of gifts, a lot of strength to get through some very hard times in my life. Then in May 2008, I was living in my own house at the time, the house I'm living in now, and as I moved from where I was when I first started saying the Rosary to where I am now. And in May 2008, I was in the house on my own that day, and that night I was lying down in my room, and as usual, I started saying the Rosary, and I finished saying the Rosary, and I went to sleep. And just as I was on, say, like the border of being kind of conscious but unconscious, if that makes sense, right? Just as I was close to being unconscious, right? I was kind of semi-conscious. But next thing, again, the overpowering smell of roses just came into the room, and um, I felt at ease. And then I heard a woman's voice saying to me, "Hello." And being in the house on my own, and next thing you hear this woman's voice in your head saying hello, you obviously wake up with a start, and you wake up kind of like frightened. So, but I didn't feel any malice or any ill intent from that voice. I I felt it was a loving, peaceful voice, and it was very much like the voice that I heard in Medjugorje back in 2004. So, um, there were a few other things that happened in my life because of the Rosary, but and it led me to writing this book here called The Lost Son. But I made this video today because I wanted to share with you just how powerful the Rosary is. And even today, as I drive, sometimes I get a bit nervous when I drive. So I say, a decade of the Rosary, and it just kind of, the fear melts away. So I'm just making this video to share my testimony of how the Rosary has helped me. It has changed my life in a lot of ways. It has given me courage to do things that I wouldn't normally have done without the help of the Rosary. Um, it has allowed me to meet wonderful people, and to meet my wife that I met. I truly do believe it saved me back in 2005 from being, even more severely um, hurt than I was, and I continue to say it every day. My wife and I say it every day, um, and it really is powerful. And I know if you give it a chance, it will help you. And I look at the world around me now, and I feel that we're heading into dark days, very dark days, and I do believe that the Rosary is going to help you through these troubled times. So I try to keep this video as short as I can and share my experiences with you. I hope you find it helpful. And I hope it has done enough to convince you to say the Rosary, because it really is a powerful prayer. So thank you for watching. Take care, guys, and God bless.